All right, you're welcome back to the show. Still good morning, Anambra, right here on ABS TV. And my name is Chidinma Oranwa. As you can see, we are all seated and ready to, dig into the topic. We are going to be looking at reviewing President Tinubu's New Year's speech. That's our topic for discussion this morning. And we have with us in the studio as guest Chris Arukwe. He is a public affairs analyst. Chris, good morning to you.
Welcome. Happy New Year to everybody.
And we also have John Ifejika, who's also a public affairs analyst. John, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
And of course, Ajula Chukwuokabwe is still with me right here in the studio this morning. Okay, just like I said, this morning we'll be focusing on President Tinubu's nationwide broadcast, where he was addressing Nigerians on New Year's Day. Amen. He talked about so many things. He highlighted the challenges we had in the country in the year 2023. And also talk about having groundwork for the economic recovery and promise Nigerians to accelerate pace of service delivery in the year 2024. A whole lot in that speech. And we would like to start with you, Chris, rather. Yeah, we are talking about the speech. I know you must have watched, read, or listened to that particular speech.
And even
digested it, yes, as well. So, well, you agree with me that he made a lot of positive remarks, high points, and then he talked about the challenges, and he also acknowledged the fact that we faced a lot of challenges in the year 2023. He even went ahead to say that he knows that some Nigeria will be asking the question, is this the renewed hope that we were promised before now? 7 months along the line. Look, you listened, you watched, you digested. So what's your thought on that speech on New Year's Day?
Well, we're here again, 2024, carrying over the load and the burden of the past 8 years. Nothing seems to work. I do not, for a start, share your enthusiasm that the speech contained monumental words or passages that suggest a miracle working situation. I do not really think I gave that speech a heck, because it was just like any other thing, an anecdote, things that were written out of context, things that were written to give a small balm to the wounds and the ulcers that Nigerians are carrying all over their bodies. I do not think economically, physically, and otherwise that the speech dealt a blow or promised a way out or a way forward to the malaise we found ourselves. Indeed, the speech compounded the anxieties and the pains of the people. I do not see one passage in that speech that was monumental. You can talk about the beauty of words hatched together, beautifully written. Beyond that, those were just mere patchwords to me. I do not glorify that speech for anything it is worth. This is my personal view.
Okay.
But I've had other presidents make monumental promises on the first years of their anniversary, or the first year of governance. I do not think that anything has changed. I didn't see the mayhem that happened in Plateau or Kaduna. I do not.
Has been captured in the speech.
Yes. It is something that should have been epochal in that speech. I think that speech is no more than a page. It was just written as a mere good wishes. Any other fellow Nigerian can wish another fellow good Nigerian. For a start, it's not worth all the effort that we are trying to make out of that speech. Don't mind my ugly way to start.
I understand what you're saying. It's your opinion, right?
I feel embittered. I feel the pain because I'm a common Nigerian. I'm not here just to pontificate. I'm not here just to eulogize, talk about how beautiful the speech was and all that. I came to say that he dashed the hope of the common man of which I have involuntarily become. Otherwise, I would like to become somewhere, somewhat else. But I'm part of the system. That the wages of Nigeria affects me, the rate track affects me, the pump price affects me, the hospital bills affect me. So I feel dismayed, and I'm qualified to feel that way.
Okay.
Let me come to you.
John Ifejika. You understand? The president, will I say, championed the cause that 24 years of unbroken democracy. He went further to say that the fact that he was once a senator in the aborted Third Republic and a governor for 8 years, and that his desire is to be president in order for Nigerians to feel the impact of good governance. For him to have said this and then arrive at this, do you think, starting from the very first day in office, when the fuel subsidy was removed and Nigerians begin to feel the impact, the gruesome impact of hardship, would you say that the president knows the pinch of Nigeria when he assumed office and then went on hard to tackle it?
Thank you so much. No wealthy Nigerian, from members of the State House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate, knows what Nigerians are passing through. I tell you that. Because if they know, they will not give themselves 100 and something million naira to buy a car. You understand?
160 million.
160 million to buy one vehicle.
And more.
And more. They don't know. He was a senator, agreed. We got something from MKO Abiola that he was moving with at that particular time. He was an emperor for 8 years in Lagos, just like what is happening in Rivers. So we will use that to judge him. He was an emperor, and Lagos was, the IGR of Lagos was greater than that of 5 or 6 states put together, and something like that. So he won't come and tell us that. Demolition that is being done in Lagos today is his handiwork, because that defeat that LP gave him in Lagos was a sore, a wound that he could not lick. So what are we talking about? He knew what he's doing. He wanted this by all means, but he has not done anything.
He said he was courageous enough to be the first president to remove subsidy, where former presidents couldn't do that.
Because they have the heart of God. They have the milk of human kindness. They knew.
Because he said that the subsidy was favoring certain people in the government, and that he wanted Nigerians.
Now look at where it has thrown us to. It would have been a gradual thing, but suddenly you just removed it. And look at what you have done to the populace of this nation. Christmas was as if nothing happened. A lot of people managed. I lived in a place and somebody called me. I was in church in my neighborhood. I was even afraid maybe my house was on fire. I called, the person said, "Do you want okuko?" That shows nobody patronized them. Said, if I leave this, they are taking more fees. Buy, anytime you have money, you pay. It's as bad as that. There was no year. Some people this Christmas could not feed well. There was no year it has happened like that. So when the man is saying he was courageous, yes, he was courageous to make pain, to bring pain and hardship and crying and bitterness to the people of Nigeria. Economists will come on their own and say certain things. We agree. When you talk of the fuel subsidy and so on. But we are going to find out at the end. Two things we will hold him. All other that we see in that speech were all lies, fallacy. But the two things we are waiting for is the living wage he mentioned and the power. So let us wait and watch. If in the next 6 months and there is no living wage, is then now we will now know whether he's saying the truth.
All right, Chris, I know
or
you
not.
want to say something, but he now mentioned something, power, the cement 2018 deal. He said he met with the German Chancellor at COP 28 in Dubai, and they've talked about how we have a speedy delivery of that particular project. But I don't know why we are having problems with that, because it's 2018, but it was easy for cement to deliver such projects in Egypt. that made the one of the people that contested for presidential
to undertake a study.
Yes, to go there. Now, what is the problem with us in the country? Are we going to be excited? Should we be excited that he encapsulated this in the New Year's speech, or is it still going to be business as usual?
When my colleagues spoke about courage, I rather tag that type of courage, the Dutch courage, the type of courage you acquire when you drink whiskey, 40 years whiskey, on thoughtless, angless, wistful courage that does not have quality of evaluation, courage that dashed the hope of the common man. That is not courage, that is savagery. That is not the type of governance any nation worth its salt is made of.
But Chris,
what she had asked the German CMS miracle. You will recall that Chimamanda, I don't know whether I pronounced that word quite well, in her speech in Germany, asked the German president what is actually holding this contract, holding this transformation, holding this bipartisan country-to-country alliance that would have changed the lives of our people. If you recall properly, you will recall that the woman said she doesn't know anything about that. That's, if it exists, she doesn't know. But that she will make inquiries. You don't joke with those people. Those people don't take and give. The Germans don't take and give. Bribery is a very serious issue with them, with their governance. And if you look at our papers, you will discover that contract must have gone through the winds. Nothing frightens Nigerians anyway. I share your enthusiasm because you have a lot of milk of human kindness and all that. This country, don't take anything you see. Things you touch might not even be real. We live in a parallax reality, a kind of reality that the modern AI is still designing. You kind of talk about a woman that has very few essential needs, going away with 37 billion naira in an economy where that 37 billion naira will do a lot of change, will transform lives, transform infrastructure. A woman is middling with it, trying to get away with it in less than 7 months. You will now think, if that kind of woman, a human being, I would like to tag a human being, is allowed to live out her 8 years tenure, sitting there as a minister, what do you think will happen? The point is that our Tinubu, our president, by force, by perjury, by whatever means that we have got a president, was hoisted on us. And he further hoisted on us the worst of our people, on us. The people who are governing us, from the House of Representatives to the people who receive the SUVs of 165 million per unit, are all the problem we have. And they can't run away with it. It's not about a 5 kg bag of rice with beautiful pictures on it. God made it such that I never received, nobody gave me, and I will not receive such insulting.
Even the bags of rice in some states, some of the extended those are rice. They took it home.
That palliative remind me of servitude. And if I scoop a spoon from it, I will also become subservient. A reminder of the slavery that happened to my forefathers. So God made it such that that rice never came my way.
And it will not come.
And those pictures that accompany those pictures are more further infuriating than the quality and the mess and the injustice contained in those bags of rice. I'm sorry to say this. And this country has to be bold enough to say that we are the people, And what is the meaning of we are the people? We are the people who give power. And that if you give, you can take back. If you make a mistake, you can correct it. You still have the capacity to say, no, you're not going to eat. Yes. Or for example, now I testified that I didn't want to get, because I had access to local power, where this rice were being distributed both to the poor and to the rich. In fact, in my family, in my town, a pharmacist was giving this rice. I say, okay, you can give a pharmacist. Why don't you give Christo a lawyer? In the perks of power.
For distribution?
For distribution. Was this rice meant for people of that status? It wasn't meant for such people. It wasn't meant for me. It wouldn't have been meant for me and the likes of me, or the people who are on the upper echelons of our lives. But the point is that there's been a mix-up between the idiots, what the philosopher people call the idiots, and the citizens. We no longer have citizens. We just have the basic item, the idiots. All of us have become idiots. Because when you acquiesce, when you stop asking questions, when you keep silent, when you say it's business, it's good enough because it benefits my brother, my tribesman, my kindred, my family,
my churchman.
New houses are going on in Igbo land. You can see the tremendous growth in real estate and architecture and all that. These things are symptoms of a deeper, cancerous issues in our lives. Where is this money coming from? They're coming from bootlegging. What they during the Depression in America, people got richer because illegal and illicit trade was going on. In Nigeria, what tribes and what is important is the illicit trade. Somebody can say that the president has approved 37 billion, and this is the way you're going to distribute it in 4 states. Pay these monies to a fine, beautiful lady. And then in that ministry, you have director of finance, you have the director of audit, you have all sorts of top civil servants who are supposed to be in charge of
the disbursement,
second degree movement of the money. Meanwhile, you say you have done data capturing. A lot of people have stood in the sun over the times and all that are doing data capturing for poverty alleviation and all that. Now, suddenly, the money is to be moved cash, it has to be moved physically. Something is symptomatically very wrong with Nigeria, frontally very wrong with us. And unfortunately, when I was invited to come and speak on this topic, President's budget or speech or whatever that meant, I was angry with myself. I said, well, I'm going to make an appearance. Was it worth it? Couldn't we have just talked about how it was Christmas in our villages and all that? Couldn't we have just talked about the masquerades that paraded our villages and all that, than glorifying a mere paperwork that a man woke up and dished out 4 days before the Christmas or New Year.
That was not sincere.
And went about causing mayhem in Lagos, causing traffic jam that took lives and property and moments of our lives in Lagos. Something has to stop and something has to give.
Now, coming back to what we are talking about, the president's speech and everything like that. In that speech, it contained the transition of democracy to democracy seamless, as it was captured there, and that those other, will I say, aggrieved political parties and candidates should come together and let us make Nigeria work again. It was captured there. What's your take on that submission?
His question is like, we are all umunnas, and you stole our land, and after you sold our land, you took the money, enrich yourself, and now you killed a cow to the umunna and ask us to come and joy and rejoice that we are one. We are not one. You see, we have different ideologies politically. So why will I come and join when I know that you are sitting on fraud? Everything about it is fraudulent. I won't come and join you, except I don't know what I'm doing. So the fact remains that they have to. You see, that speech in itself is very embarrassing. How can you, a president, a week after more than 200 people in a community has been slaughtered, if it's in America, then there will be a national broadcast, the state of the nation.
Yes.
And to encourage the people
To heal.
To, you know, now you made a nasty statement, you forgot about the 200 and something people that died in Plateau. This is the major one. And other places, you didn't say anything. You start telling us that you were in the Senate when you were presenting your budget, talking about national defense, security, social security, and so on. That is not, as far as it's enough for people. This thing that happened both in Kaduna and in Plateau, it's enough for all the service chiefs to resign. You're not sacking them, but they should resign and say we have failed. That's what we want. And including the Minister of Defense. They should all resign. And the president will have made a statement begging Nigerians, encouraging us that it will not happen again. He ignored it quietly. Is that the man who ignores such thing that will give you living wage? Is it the man that ignores such thing that will, all those things are rhetorics, for God's sake. They are all rhetorics. So I'm not carried away. I've been in this nation. The day I found out that governors tell lies, since that day I lost hope concerning anything about political leadership. Because once you are there, you should be a man or woman of integrity. It's just like when you go to church and your priest tells lies, which I've seen over and over. And the bishop tells lies, which I've seen over and over. And you ask me to take such a thing serious. No, it's not possible. I will not. I respect that man in the village, who you call the oldest man in that village, who will say things with truth and fear of God. By the time he break the kola nut and say things, and you come for judgment, he will tell you the truth. But today we don't have them in governance, be it political, be it state governors, be it president. They tell a lot of lies. Until we begin to see people who are men and women of integrity that will tell you we are doing this and it will remain so. Not when you tell me, carry this bag of salt and go to that place, then you not send rain to deal with me on the road. That is the situation we find ourselves in present governance in this country.
Can I add just a word on what he has said? You know, in the Bible, somewhere in Isaiah, I think, some brother was trying to go and do Thanksgiving. And he was having a very big beef with the brother at home. And the priest came out and said, drop all those stuff you have.
That's in Matthew.
Go and
make peace
and all that. And if you also remember the mundane type, when Ngige was prattling around trying to buy all the bishops in the world, it was Bishop Obinna from Owerri Diocese. I'm not sure of the name, but Obi something, Obi-Nwanne. One of the bishops that stood apart and said, you don't talk about reconciliation. You don't talk about forgiveness if there's no restitution. The word is restitution. And the only way you could have just said that, the way you can do restitution is like I can steal this your phone and travel overseas for 5 years, and I come back and I buy you the latest iPhone 17, for example. And what I stole was a Techno, worth just a few dollars. The idea of frauding into a higher realm to compensate you is to restore your dignity, your mental situation, what you have suffered, not the physical compensation about the phone. So you can see the analogy. This is a man who said that he won the election free and fair on the television the day of his inauguration. Any of his opponents is free to go to the court. And you now, in very other stanzas, especially on your January 1st speech, you're now asking them to join hands with you. While you have gone to court, you probably defeated them with the same method you defeated Nigerians. And you want these fellows to join you. While you have approved billions of naira in series of figures for rehabilitation of the Vice President's house,
Chief of Staff,
Lizon House in Lagos, Chief of Staff's dwelling in a First Ladies, and your own rehabilitation. Then you have further gone to approve, in the midst of excruciating poverty, Nigeria dropping below the lowest point of poverty index. Somebody told me Nigeria is only second to Afghanistan. These are countries where everybody has an AK-47 on his dining table. Is a nation of warlords. Mm-hmm. So this is what Nigeria has turned into. We are only second to them. So, and somebody is splurging our hard-earned resources, borrowed funds, because there's nothing we're earning. There's nothing like internally generated. People are just being coerced. People are just being forced to give up their own earnings in illegitimate taxes all over and spread of the country. You now splurge without any tinge of conscience that these people deserve such exquisite, exotic end luxury that is meant for entertainment people in America. Those are the people who can use these vehicles. Because those people who manufacture it, they don't do it in large numbers. They make it for the high-end earners. Those who will buy it and give to their girlfriends and all that. But this is the regular car. You know what it means? This is the frontline car, the regular car our legislators are using in a poverty-stricken country, in a country that is basically managed wrongly from all dimensions, in a country that is properly ill-constituted in every dimension of constitutionality, democracy, or elements of governance, in a country that looks like an animal farm, where the most idiotic of us is the head of state, where laughter looks like crying, where people no longer know what it means to be happy. Have you had an encounter on the road where the keke man is trying to tell you, can you remove that trash that you're occupying the road with?
Okay, your car is a trash.
Yes,
because annoyance.
Because the guy is angry.
Frustrated.
He sees you as an opponent.
Oh, yes.
He sees you as the bourgeois. He sees you as the guy who is eating.
And who is suffering.
Who has brought him to this level.
And he sees you as the villain. Just because you have a rickety four-wheel drive going on your way that could patch up with a quarter tank in your liters and all that.
It's not even up to
The other person believes that you are part of the people who hurt him. And is justified in his innocent anger to pour all manner of innuendos on you. That is what is happening. And these are our governors. Our legislatures, they don't have, because they ride in tinted windows. They don't look at the faces of the people. They don't look that the people are no longer waving. Because if you look at what is happening in beautiful countries like America, you can see the Prime Minister of Britain shopping, going around in trains, wishing his people.
At times with bicycle.
No, this one happened on the 1st of... you can see the Prime Minister, Sunak. You can see it. The man was riding on a common train. He went buying chocolates, pricing chocolate, and asking a fellow British, between this and this Chambery and the brands of chocolate, which one do you really think I should have? The old woman was saying, I've always been stuck with us. They were having a person-to-person conversation. But our own is riding in gilded and endpoint revolutionary machinery, built to security, built to the last point of security, tinted, bulletproofed. The tires are bulletproof. Everything about those kind of things. He's gilded, he's shielded, he's truncated. He can't see the people, and he doesn't know how we feel.
We need to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll still continue with our discussion right here in the studio. But let's just take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS. With delight, we bring you the light that we bear through our illustrious leaders. Our icons. Our industrious people. Our rich culture. Our places of pride. And our mouth-watering cuisine. With unbridled professionalism and renewed tenacity, we serve you real-time news, information, entertainment of varied genres with unfettered reach of your clients and customers. AB.
Still talking about the presidential, let's say, to me, it's more like the New Year message of the president on how to probably cushion the effect of what we are suffering, because he said a whole lot. And we have gentlemen in the studio that have been dissecting into what the president's delivery of hope, renewed hope message was like. A whole lot has been said, and we'll definitely talk much more on it. Quickly, Mr. John Ifejika, based on what the president said so far, and in your experience of witnessing 24 years of uninterrupted democracy handover, do you see any lights at the end of the tunnel for Nigeria to come out of these doldrums?
If we as Nigerians were to depend or put our hope on what the president has said, then at the end of, by the end of this year, a lot of us will end up with stroke in the hospital, because all these things are rhetorics. There's no truth. When he went to the National Assembly, he said, he talked about poverty reduction, then he went again to say social security. Social security is also the same thing with poverty reduction. So when you talk of social security in a Britain where the scheme works, even South Africa don't need to go. At the age of 60, a woman is paid some amount of money for being, a senior citizen. And a man, 65, government pay you something. We're talking of that social security, where you earn something, it comes to you, including your pension. Your pension is not inclusive in this, but this is what the state is giving to you for attaining that age. And things like that is also everywhere in the world. And we don't see this happening in Nigeria. How can the president be telling us to, when, do you know how much they sell a cup of rice now? You don't know. Where chicken in the market went for 15,000 naira, some 12, some 10, something that in the other, within the same 24 years of uninterrupted democracy, we are buying chicken for 2,000 naira, 1,000 something, and things like that. So in his own, he's celebrating hardship on the people. And we cannot buy things, we cannot eat, we cannot do things. The day he was passing in Lagos, you speak Yoruba very well. You heard what the women were saying when he was going to the mosque. We
are hungry.
We are hungry. Yes, that we are hungry. Have you ever heard that? People say that on any president in Nigeria?
For him to even be
in
more
his own domain,
in his own domain,
his own domain, in the state where he claimed to rule for 8 years, and we are passing, and people are shouting, "We are hungry, oh, we are hungry." So that tells you a lot, and things like that. Like he rightly said.
So like you said, in his gilded armored bulletproof vehicle. So they still feel the pinch of the masses. Because that was a stretch of people lined up on the road, echoing the same thing.
He wouldn't hear them.
He will not hear them.
Because the glasses are not wound down.
And this vehicle is bulletproof.
Maybe you would think that they are just hailing him.
You will see hands.
So he's not hearing. And if the motor entered any gallop, he will not feel it because of the shock that vehicle has. It's not ordinary vehicle. So he's not feeling
the shock absorbers are fitted.
Yes. So
to handle this.
You made mention of the
Ebing
Pani. That's people are really hungry. And in his speech, I'm glad that he talked about food scarcity and how we can arrest that situation in the year 2024. He made mention of cultivating or planting staple food in about 500,000 hectares of land.
And now, he said dry season own 120,000 hectares in Jigawa State.
It has been launched already. Now, my question is, we are still facing insecurity in this country, and we know the problem we have with all this. The herdsmen, and then the farmers. If we don't arrest the situation of insecurity, how then are we going to achieve this 500,000 hectares where we plant staple food and all that?
It's not only in farming too, because no investor will ever come to a place where his life and his money is not secured.
Okay, are you talking about investors? He said that all his journey has been embarking to foreign
that's
countries,
what I'm saying.
that he's spoken to them and they are coming back. But we have countries leaving. We have P&G, they've left. ShopRite is about
Glasgow
leaving.
had left. No, ShopRite have left. Sold to a Nigerian.
Okay.
So they've left. And Game, they've left. So many companies have left. Michelin left a long time. They are in Ghana. So you find out that they've left. Glaxo today, for those people who are asthmatic, for you to buy their inhaler, it's gone up from 1,500 to 10,000 naira. So now you find out that somebody who inhales it takes about 3 in a month. So where will a civil servant whose salary is 35,000 will not go and buy for health something that is compulsory for him or her to live? And where will he get that money? So this insecurity thing is something that they need to tackle very well. Insecurity is not only the headsmen. What about the unknown gunmen? These are the things that are, giving us a lot of problem. A state in Nigeria celebrated 1 year of non-bank robbery. We've not heard of that in this part of Nigeria. There are places where when you go to the bank, you are afraid because anytime you will hear hands up, lie down.
Well, it is, I'm not interrupting you, but I'm just giving gustos to what you want to say. The banks are empty shells these days. Any armed robber who goes to rob a bank is just joking. The monies are no longer there. The monies are with the POS agents and all that. The naira is nothing anymore. People will not just bother themselves, all the risk. The armed robbers they calculate their risk before they venture. The money is no longer in the vaults. Because if you go to the banks, you want 200,000, what you're going to be given is 10,000, 20,000. Some bank gives 20,000. So, talking about security, that should have been the major splurge of his speech. Because Buhari promised that he is a gallant military man, that he was going to end insecurity in 3 days or in 3 weeks or in 3 months. In 8 years, he has exacerbated the situation. He increased the audacity of some of these Boko Haram people, that in major parts of the country, in the north, farmers pay
tax.
They pay cash, pay for all ancillary services, buy petrol, and tell the herdsmen and the Boko Haram people when they will visit the farm. And if there's no response, the farmers don't go to the farm.
Yes.
And you know that, for example, the Plateau State is a temperate state, something that looks like the European region, where a lot of cropping can go on in between the seasons. in 2 seasons actually. You have rice, you have yams. And the problem is that it's a land occupation, something that's happening in Gaza and Israel. It's all about land struggle. If you sit down and read why they really want plateau, it's all about land title. It's about they want to take water.
All right, because we need to go.
They want to go and have fertile areas where their cattle would drink water, good quality water. And they need to move the people away from those areas. So this is actually the issue.
All right, I wish we had more time because I know we have more to talk about, but our sports anchor is already here and we need to go. But we have to say very, very big thank you to both of you for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you so much, Barrister Chris Arukwe, for being part of the show.
I'm welcome. Thank you.
And also to you, John Ifejika, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. God bless you.
And God bless Nigeria too. Well, on that note, what to say?
ABS should bring out time for people who wish to discuss and ventilate on how we are and how our nation is going on.
Okay.
Instead of all these sports programs, these other programs, it is important that the masses participate in freeing themselves from the shackles.
Okay. Well, you know, some people still love
Sports.
sports.
Is very, very
sports
important.
Is important.
It's what is keeping us going. Somebody like me will have died if not for sports. So it's keeping us going.
Well, I want to say a very big thank you to you out there for being part of the program this morning. And we pray that if all that is being encapsulated in that speech, all the promises, if the presidency, the executive arm of the government, the legislators, if they can put hands together to see that they come to actualization, that we'll have a better 2024. My name is Chidimma Orawan. Thank you so much for joining us.
And I'm Ajuluchukwu Akagwe saying tomorrow we'll definitely have a date with you. Bye for now.